Up next, Western Kentucky at Alabama. Now, look, on the surface, certainly not a marquee game. Alabama, a 31.5-point favorite. But how do you not have it on the marquee when you're talking about game one of the Kalen DeBoer era as he follows the all-timer in Nick Saban on the sidelines for the Crimson Tide? This is a 7 Eastern kickoff on ESPN. My one big thing for Alabama doesn't really change much from what I've talked about or we've talked about a lot through the offseason into preseason workouts. The secondary for Alabama, just kind of getting a feel for, first, who these guys are in large part. And then, this is a Western Kentucky offense that traditionally, if you go back to Jeff Brom, Petrino, now with Tyson Helton, one thing that this game can do for Alabama is provide a real snapshot of where the Crimson Tide is on the back end, because Helton in this offense, TJ Finley going to get the start at quarterback for Western Kentucky. This is a guy who's been at LSU, Auburn, Texas State. I think there is a test that can be had for Alabama back there.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. My big thing would go in the opposite direction. How improved is Jalen Milroe? We certainly know that Jalen can throw the ball accurately down the field. But, Trev, my thing with Milroe is on 3rd and 6, can you throw it 7 yards accurately? And that, we hear that is the case. We also hear a lot of improvement, a lot of lost weight, too, for this offensive line. So I would put those two together. Can they protect Milroe? Is he going to be more accurate? And because he certainly also has a running back room that's going to take a lot of pressure off of him. And frankly, I think Justice Hayes and Jam Miller within this first month or so are going to show that this may be one of the better running back rooms in the entire league.
I'm not going to be surprised at all after all the talk about DeBoer and Nick Sheridan and that offense and the explosiveness of it and the big numbers from Michael Penix a year ago out at Washington, if Alabama doesn't really feature the running backs early on.
Yes.
Because even in the spring game back on A-Day, we saw that. Alabama came out in a 2-back set with its first team offense. So I'm not going to let myself be surprised if that's the case in the opener, that maybe we see Haynes and Miller on the field together, even on the opening snap. But it's a good point about Milroe. There's layers to this offense where you have to be able to make the throws, not just the vertical throws where Jalen was particularly effective a year ago. The next step for him is intermediate accuracy, anticipation intermediately, and also in the shorter game, because there's going to be quick game to the outside with these Alabama wide receivers. There's going to be a traditional screen game to the backs, hence your comments about the offensive line and sort of streamlining that group, because they're going to have to get out in space and do some things, which I'm sure they're excited about. But, those are things we haven't seen as much of from Jalen Milroe at this point that we're going to need to see more of in terms of his development.